Um, it's getting to a point where I'm baffled by the fact that if you live in a certain zip code, you are just you're stuck with this cable internet phone provider. Like where I live, the provider is Cox, and no other provider even has service in this area. Lena Khan, why don't you focus on that issue? That is a very clear monopoly that is being formed by all these telecom providers, but you're too busy focusing on what? Reining in big tech? Cool. Good for you.
And we haven't, and your internet connection hasn't crapped out yet, so I guess it's a
No,
good
the,
thing.
the moment we went live, now it's like I got full green bars. It was like, oh, I realize you're trying to do something, so let me not screw you over. So cool. Thanks, Cox. But I digress. We are here, episode 19 of the Bitcoin Ballers podcast. Guys, A, I can't believe we've made it this far. B, oh my goodness. I thought last week was such a slow week. So when we kind of were like, let's take last week off, I was like, I'm sure 2 whole weeks there'll be some news to talk about. But lo and behold, we find ourselves deep in the dog days of summer, where the thing that trends most on NBA Twitter right now is the fact that Austin number 40. That's low.
Yeah. Yeah. Talking about Austin Reeves, I mean, in general, I think that Reeves, talking about John Morant's, friend getting in a criminal case or criminal charges against him. I just think that the NBA Twitter, NBA news wanted so much for Harden and Lillard to be traded right now, and it was just there's no incentive for teams to essentially move assets for players that have already declared where they want to go. So there's this you would think that the play we've seen this dynamic where players have power now and now Harden gets to play where he wants and he's now picked his team now 3 times going on 4. Lillard's about to pick his team, the Heat, the Clippers. It seems like there's no incentive for the Clippers to blow up their team to bring Harden over for the Sixers' sake. And the same thing goes for the Portland Trailblazers. You don't really want to say, "Oh, I'm just going to give you Lillard for peanuts." Clippers, or the Sixers at the same time. It's like they're saying we're demanding a whole lot. I'm like, yeah, Harden really doesn't want to go play anywhere else, so you can either keep him and we'll play with him in free agency, or you can give him to us right now. So it's like the monopoly dynamic is working opposite ways for both teams. In my opinion, like I've said before, I think that Lillard is burning up the clock, forcing his way to Miami. He should go to a team that can win now, regardless of the fact. And the same thing goes with Harden. I think, anywhere where a team can take you, if you really want out that bad, go now and pursue your incentives and free agency a year later. You're back, Q. I cut you off because you were kind of crapping out a bit.
No, you're good. You're good. And apologies to everyone watching in case we keep cutting out, or I keep cutting out.
This is you this time.
I will caveat all of this, and I saw a really funny, like, I don't know if you see like the Instagram reel, like comedy sketch scenes things where like a couple comedians get together and make like a 1-minute short, and they were essentially mocking the way NBA players have been demanding trades, where it was literally like a player has agreed in terms and has not signed the contract, but has agreed to terms. And then literally they're like, all right, great. Like, will you sign? Hands the pen over to the player. And then the agent goes, my player's requesting a trade. And the guy playing the GM is like, but he hasn't even signed the contract yet. It's like, yeah, but he wants to trade. You can only trade him these 3 teams. And then the irony of that is, it's like, okay, we're getting a trade finalized. He's about to go, demanding another trade. You need to trade him from that team. He's like, wait, but we don't even. And the humor in that is like this idea that, sure, I get it's really awesome for these players to get to say like have the players get to make the choice. Like they are the ones creating the content. They are the ones putting on this performance. They should have a say in where they play, how they play, who they play with to a degree. I
To a
will
degree, that's right.
I will say to a degree because there is a little bit of this where you start to turn into and dude, maybe I'm just an old like maybe I am an old head in basketball finally, where it's like, dude, back in my day, like when Kobe demanded the trade and everyone was like, oh, he's going to Chicago, everyone was like, he's a prima donna. He's a brat. He's like, oh, when Shaq was in Orlando and they were having the contract negotiations and he was demanding to be paid as the best player in the league, which at that moment in time, he was.
Mhm.
He was and should have dictated the largest contract in the history of the NBA at the time. And then Orlando is throwing a fit. They have billboards. Is Shaq $100 million? All this stuff. And the stage has been set for a while, in my opinion, for the players to finally like regain this power. And this isn't the first time, or it's not like, oh, LeBron started the no. Super teams have been around forever now. This
And
is
players have demanded where they wanna go forever. Continue.
but there is a degree of this where it's becoming, and it might genuinely just be because we're in the social media age. So every little detail starts to leak out. So you hear about every player who wants out, and you're like, oh wow, like everyone's requesting it. When if like who was it? There was someone I remember having this thought the other day where I was getting like a little annoyed that some player was like tampering and trying to like recruit players to come play with them. I forget. It was like a current team, current player. And I remember getting frustrated. And then I was thinking in my head, right, but that's exactly what Shaq did. And I love Shaq. So if I think it's okay for Shaq to do it, then it's okay for any NBA player to do it. So I do think that there is a degree of prima donna-ness that is coming out that like I just don't care for. And I'm not saying shut up and dribble. I'm more just going from the angle of guys, like if you want to play professional basketball and be paid millions of dollars, you're destroying the free market a little bit when you have an all-star caliber player who will take a minimum to go chase a ring, or you distort the market when you demand a trade, but you're only going to accept the trade if you go to this one team that doesn't really have the assets that warrant an appropriate transaction here. So I think time will tell. I'm not a fan of the way this has been going. And I think the only way teams are able to respond is by doing what we're seeing be done and what we saw happen with Utah last year. Hold them out to the last possible minute and you screw over the player actually. The player doesn't get the opportunity that he thinks he's going to get by getting traded to this team. Doesn't get the time to acclimate. You probably end up losing one or two of the players that you thought you were going to be playing with. Like famously when Kobe demanded that trade that year, they had the deal with Dallas, and I'm pretty sure it was Dirk in the trade that Kobe was like, because when I was looking at the roster, it was either Dirk or Michael Finley, and I'm like, Kobe's not trying to go play with Michael Finley. Kobe's trying to go play with Dirk. So it's like, okay, well, that was the whole thing that stopped the trade. Essentially, Mitch Kupchak was like, dude, the only way we're trading you to this team is if we're getting Dirk back. I get you want to go play with Dirk, but it doesn't work like that, man. So I don't know, man. I just miss Kobe.
Oh yeah, that's the moral of this long story. And let me tell you this: that what you do see is the dynamic of the it's a creeping inflation of when it's actually appropriate to even request a trade. There's a time and point where you wouldn't even think about talking about a trade, to say, hey, he's going to leave, so let's trade him before blah blah blah, or I'm going to demand a trade because I'm going to be done after next season. You might as well start thinking about that. The Anthony Davis times, the Kyrie Irving times. But now it's like, Lillard just signed a contract last year. In my opinion, the audacity of that. I mean, even James Harden, he
No,
kind
see,
of
I
keeps his
actually
mouth
don't.
shut. Go ahead.
I sorry to interrupt you, but I actually think Lillard and Harden are two separate issues.
Oh, I
Lillard
completely,
Lillard
yeah.
has actually been the he is he has been like, dude, I will play here. But management turned on him. The org wants to go in a different direction. And so it reads more as though both parties in this instance were kind of like, dude, you're awesome. But it's like that relationship with that girl where the time it was great, but the timing was off.
I
She
don't
was moving
find
she was
that
moving somewhere
timing.
else.
I know. I see what you're going at. I don't see the timing as you have to, as a player, again, you have to take into consideration before I sign this pin, what am I looking at here? And what's all he looked at was a promise. He looked at a promise. Hey, trust me, bro. We're going to build around you. If you couldn't see, if you couldn't see,
Trust me, bro.
if you couldn't see the evidence of what you were looking for before you signed a 5-year deal, why I don't fault them for pursuing their own incentives. And look, this is the Bitcoin ballers. This is exactly what Lillard did. He trusted the institution that they were going to take care of him. And then the institution saw Anthony Simmons. Then the institution saw Shaden Sharp. Then the institution saw Scoot Henderson. And the general manager was like, yeah, I understand, the best player in the moment that we could get. Remember, Portland Trailblazers. I mean, Lillard thought that they were just, oh yeah, man, we're gonna bring the stars to you. We're gonna bring Bam. We're gonna bring Anthony Davis. We're gonna bring Jalen Brunson. We're gonna bring everyone to you. Trust me, we're to the land, bro. Really? Like, no free agent said no free agent ever. Like, so it's like we can say that,
Scottie
oh,
Pippen.
Lillard, oh gosh. Oh,
Scottie
yeah,
Pippen.
yeah. 12-year veteran Scottie Pippen. I'm so excited. He was 34 years old, man.
Bro,
I'm
you're
sorry.
you're older than me. You remember that freaking series? Like that signing alone almost
They,
cost the Lakers the first championship in their three-peat.
didn't they win 4 games to 1?
No, they went to 7 games and they were down by almost 20 points going into the fourth quarter of game 7.
Scott, okay, we're going to start pulling up stats. Scottie Pippen was likely the 4th option on that team. He's
I
not
don't
as
doubt that, but it's his defense. Like literally, have you read Phil's book?
no.
You've never read any of Phil Jackson's books?
No,
Oh,
I write my own stuff, bro.
bro. Okay, anyways, so
Keep
Phil's
going.
book about the 0304 season is literally just his journal. It's different journal entries from the season. And he talks about actually that moment in the 99 2000 season where he goes to Dr. Buss and he's like, we need to go sign Scottie Pippen. And Dr. Buss just was like, I can't afford to do that. We're going to go too far in the luxury tax. And that was a decision that literally almost came back to bite them in the ass in the Western Conference Finals that year. And like, sure, that was Scottie's last year of significant production and relevance. I don't doubt that. And I'm not saying he came in and was the number one on that team. No. But you and I have talked about this, dude. A 12-year NBA vet with 6 NBA championships, arguably one of the greatest defenders to ever play the game.
Greatest
That's
players of all time, yeah.
that's a puzzle piece that moves you from like we're a playoff team to we're a championship team.
Yeah. Yeah, I completely understand. And I'm saying that I'm glad that you found 34-year-old Scottie Pippen after 30 years of Portland Trailblazers losing the likes of Clyde Drexler, Rasheed Wallace, now Damon Lillard, and I can only think about
LaMarcus Aldridge.
LaMarcus Aldridge. So you have all these future Hall of Famers that say or Hall of Famers.
LaMarcus is
Okay. But you have Clyde and you have
Yeah.
Lillard and you have maybe one day, but you have these guys now. You have these stars. They're all stars in their time. You know what I'm getting at. They walk away. They walk away. That is an opposite destination when it comes to free agency. Players get good there and leave. So Lillard saying hearing the trust me, bro, he trusted the wrong bro. That's it.
But see, I don't agree with that argument because you're then saying the onus is on the players to manage the team and build the team. And I don't agree with
He
that.
should have left then when he was a free agent. If he really cared about that, he should have said, you know what, thanks, but no thanks. I'm going to take my talent somewhere else where, guess what? Then he could say, trust me, bro, with Miami, because maybe Miami draws free agents, maybe even Philly, maybe the Lakers, the Clippers. You see where teams get players. Lillard was talking trash about all the players that are hopping teams, and he wanted to have the virtue signal. It ended up costing him, and now he's in this weird predicament where he could be sitting out for an entire season being forced to play, 33 years old, being forced to play a place he doesn't want to play, and Miami losing opportunity because he wanted to sign the deal and be a virtue signaler. So yeah, I understand. I don't sign that contract if I'm Lillard and I'm really thinking about a championship. I'll swallow my pride. Like, yeah, I was talking about Paul George a year ago, and now I'm doing the same thing. People are going to make fun of me, but I could have already had a championship by now.
Fair. You know what made me feel really vindicated? Actually, two things that made me feel vindicated. Then we'll get into like what the plan for today's episode
Yeah.
is. So doing my research, I'm gonna start with a funny one, and then one where I'm a bully. So
Uh-oh.
the funny the funny one is, I've been talking a lot about James Harden and essentially pointing out that, hey, like James Harden as an individual contributor to a team as the number one he's an incredible talent,
Yep.
but he's not good enough as a number one option
To win.
to lead you to a championship. And we saw last year, he's not good enough to even be the number two. Kendrick Perkins was essentially going on watching the show, using my arguments, and then went double down and pointed out like he only played in the championship one time when he was the bench warmer. He was a rotation guy.
Was he not sixth man of the year that year?
I think he was. But I don't. Hey, let me have the argument.
Okay, go ahead.
Because it just further points out the point I've been making is that all of these players in the NBA can be a 30-point player if the system allowed them to be. And James Harden has been given that green light and shown that, yeah, he can score like no other, but he can't win like no other. And I think that marker, if he's willing to go, fine. If he's willing to come to the Clippers and take over the Russell Westbrook role of coming off the bench, you have a shot at winning a championship, bro. But if you're coming to the Clippers thinking like, no. I run the offense. Kawhi barely plays. Like Paul George, you don't got a shot like I do. I got this. I'm sorry, but that's a recipe for a disaster, an absolute disaster. And then the thing that honestly, like I felt vindicated. Did you see DeAndre Ayton crying?
You were teasing me about that. Let's hear it. I haven't heard the story yet. Go ahead.
So, longtime viewer of the podcast, the Bitcoin Ballers, DeAndre Ayton goes on to another reputable Bitcoin podcast or basketball podcast and says, paraphrasing, but he mentioned some guy, handsome guy, long hair with one letter, who's been just ranting about how awful of a player he is and how this season he's going to show up. He's going to show up and show out to shut these people up and these critics up. DeAndre, I know you're watching, brother. All I gotta say is I cannot wait to hit the under on all the fucking bets I'm making on you this season. Boom! I literally, bro, I traded. I traded. I did the ESPN because the thing I like about the ESPN trade machine is it gives you the John Hollinger like win projections. I traded away DeAndre Ayton for just the trade that I've been talking about with you, man. Buddy Hield and Miles Turner works with the cap. I think you got to throw in a couple.
Of course, that would give you better net positive on a wins. Yeah,
crazy, right? Crazy to think that if you move off from like a scrub level, no, of course not. The Pacers, the same team that offered DeAndre Ayton the max contract that Phoenix had to go and match, that they're not going to take this deal.
That's right, they're not.
I tell you right now, if the Phoenix Suns had two brain cells in their front office, they would already be on the phone with the Pacers. They'd be working out this today. I'm telling you.
Hield and Turner for just Ayton.
I think to make it work, I had to include Utah and I had to include one other player for salary purposes, but I got it to work. But they could create a trade exception and make it work even without these other players.
It's just it's a weird thing. I just don't see. I mean, one more year of not to say Aiton did poorly, but I just feel like there's always that. It wasn't that it was one more year of Aiton. It was one more year that he didn't turn into 22 and 12. And I think that's what the Pacers were thinking he could be, because Turner has his limits, and Hield is not an all-star, but they're very, very good players in their own rights. And the idea that this 7-footer who's with soft hands could be, and rebounds could be, Kareem. That's what they were that's what they were shooting for. Kareem like stats. I'm not saying I'm saying he's Kareem, but when you're getting
We're pretty far into his career, so where we can say very confidently this man is never going to come within.
If he has one Kareem like year of a 30-year-old Kareem, then it's worth it to them. If he has a 25 and 12 year,
he won't.
I know, but that's the thing. That's the projection. They would be thinking that he would get that because they see another year of him being 18 and 18 and 10, and without, now you have the same dynamic that you've been talking about without Chris Paul. His efficiency
without
will
any
go
starting
down.
point guards.
Bradley Beal, is basically going to be shooting them like he's going to be saying, "Good luck getting my rebounds, son." that's what's going to happen.
Did I miss something? Like, why in the world did Cam Payne get traded to the Spurs? Like,
did I tell you I had a dream? I'm sorry, I have to tell you this. It's so weird.
Please.
Can't it involved.
But did he fuck someone's girl?
Cam Payne they just don't like. He's weird. He's probably like,
dude. He's the only point guard on the roster. Like, did he fuck someone's mom? Like, is this a Delonte West situation right now?
That's why my dream is relevant, because we were talking about the Pacers as well. I had a dream that the day before he was traded to the Spurs, I kid you not, he was traded to the Pacers for TJ McConnell and a second-round draft pick. It was so weird because I thought it was so.
You're right that you're dreaming about NBA transactions.
It was so stupid. And the funny thing is that when I saw him actually get traded to the Spurs, I'm like, so he just got to the Pacers and now he's going to the Spurs. I don't get it. I thought it was real. I woke up in the morning. I'm like, oh yeah, that's really crazy. Like they have TJ McConnell and he's like a serviceable point guard for all the shooters. It's going to be great for them. And it never happened. And then 30 hours later, Payne gets traded to the Spurs. Super weird. But I just think that it's probably just a dump. What's the salary on Payne? They're probably saving money on the luxury tax. That's let me
$5.8 million.
If they're over the luxury tax, that could turn into 15 to 20. So it's just
if they're over the second apron, that's $35 million. I understand that.
That's it.
I fully understand the new CBA. However, I also understand how basketball is played, and you have no players who have had a history of being a distributor. You have no ball movement. In fact, you have a catch and shoot player, and you have two guys that are really good at playing iso ball, but that's a really stagnant offense all of a sudden.
They're going all in on it.
I'm just pointing this out. What you are creating offensively is every man for himself. You create your own shot. You know who struggles in that kind of system? DeAndre Ayton.
Yep.
So I'm telling, sure, fine. The Suns may think they can get one Kareem level late in his career.
I don't think they can. I think they're
no. I know you don't think that. But if I understood you correctly, you are saying the Suns think that.
No, I said the Pacers thought that maybe they could. That's why if there was ever an inkling about Miles Turner and Buddy Hield for Ayton, I'm saying that's out.
That might be the best deal. That might be the best offer they're going to get for those two, though.
I promise you, Pacers and J Dub said it himself. Indiana don't make that trade. They for sure don't, because it's another year of 18-10. And while that's good, that's not good enough for Turner and Hield. It's a great number, but again, with Paul gone, it's probably going to go down to 14-9 or 14, maybe 14.
Whoa! Look at you taking the unders.
I saw what he's scoring after the All-Star break. It was 15 points a game. Yeah. And that's with another shooting guard, like legit shoot, like I'm shooting this guard. Yeah, it's 15. He's probably, and you said he's probably going to get more rebounds. He's probably going to be 14 and 12. He's probably going to get a lot of rebounds.
Or it goes another way. And this is where I was like hesitant on giving you an answer, and why I was like, I'm going to take the over, because there is a less likely scenario, but still likely, that what happens is kind of like the Anthony Davis effect that you and I have kind of talked about sometimes, where Anthony Davis likes having a center, someone else playing center, because it allows him to just freely grab the rebounds, and then the defense kind of has to pick one guy or the other. It can't just, commit to boxing out AD, because then the other center is there. Ayton doesn't have that. So when, like, if I'm playing defense against the Suns, I am literally begging you to let DeAndre Ayton be the one to try to beat me. And let me tell you this, the second you put a shot up, that's who I'm looking for. I'm just boxing Ayton out. Fine. Devin Booker wants to grab an offensive rebound. Great. Bradley Beal wants to come down into the paint to grab an offensive rebound. Cool. Anyone else can. DeAndre Ayton can't. And that
so
is going to
be 16-6, maybe.
I'm just saying that is a scenario that I see more happening in like a playoff series than I do over the course of the NBA season. But that's how you beat the Suns.
A game plan, a true game plan to isolate someone who's already limited.
Who can't play ISO ball. He
Right.
can't play ISO ball. So if you force him to play ISO ball and you force the Suns to play through him, dude, the Suns get swept. Yeah. You have no point guard. Like, what are you thinking, guys?
Yeah. Totally agree. They could always potentially trade him. Not to say that there's a big market for centers for guards. There's a lot of guards out there, and a team may be able to buy low, sell high, if they will, saying the Suns are desperate for an actual playmaker, and they trade him for a kind of a bum center and maybe a serviceable guard. And so they're basically just like, a fire sale on Ayton for the sake of true team chemistry. Because you're right, it's not going to work. But still, that guard will cannibalize the time from Beal and Booker, because now you have three guards. Now you can't even maximize your best players unless you have Booker playing small forward, and that's it's a broken team.
Don't work.
It does not work.
It's starting to read a lot like the way I used to play NBA Live, and like way back. It was just like, just get the best player on the team. Bro, there was one year I didn't have a single point guard on the team, and I built a roster where it was Dwayne Wade at the point. It was Miami Heat. Shaq was my center. I had Kevin Garnett at the 4. I had Dirk Nowitzki at the 3. Mm-hmm. And then I think I went out and got Reggie Miller to play the 2 or something. But that was the team.
Yeah, just two guys who could spot up and shoot. You would never post up Dirk. Dwayne Wade would have the drive potential so he could get by everyone. You didn't have to worry about the playmaking of Dwayne Wade, because the player, the human controller,
can be the playmaker.
has the omniscience of the court that a person at first person doesn't have. So yeah, I get it.
But we'll see. We're spending a lot, probably too much time on this, and I want to go over what we wanted to talk about at least, which is essentially this is the scenario that we're going to create for you, but we're going to create your ultimate starting 5 for the 2023-2024 NBA season. The parameters we've given ourselves are simply that you're playing for 1 year. Think of it like this. This is the way I've envisioned it. You fall ass backwards into a team where LeBron James is the only player on your roster. You have the freedom to get any other players, but the caveat is LeBron has come to you and said, I want to be the 6th man. I don't want to be a starter. So, and let's start with the small forward because that would assume that, and like I'll just say it, I don't think LeBron is the best small forward in the NBA right now. So I think there are a couple guys better than him, but like the list really is thin above him. Giannis, maybe if you want to call him a three, and again, Tatum, maybe if you want to call him a three.
So you're asking me to pick a small forward.
I'm gonna start with small forward. I know, right?
Okay.
Like I'm being obnoxious. We're gonna go
No, it's
small
okay.
forward, then point guard, then
No,
center, then
it's
shooting
okay.
guard, then power.
And here's my thing, like basketball is such a positionless sport.
Mhm.
My team will that I have an idea of will mesh what generally well with, a 1 to 2, a 2 to 3, a 3 to 4, a 4 to 5. So I'm going to say that Jimmy Butler would be my 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take Tatum.
Okay.
I can't believe I said that, but I will take Jason Tatum at the 3. I don't think there are too many guys better than him at that position, especially like playing that sort of pseudo perimeter that can get sent down low if need be. Is there anyone like I personally take Tatum over Butler even after what we saw in the Eastern Conference Finals? Is there any other player who could play that type of a role that is in this conversation?
Yeah, and the reason why I would say Dame. I would also
No,
say it's. I'm
Dame is
sorry.
a
Did I say
point
Dame?
guard.
I'm sorry. I was looking at a list of people. My bad. I would say Tatum. I don't know why I said that. I would say Tatum. Is Giannis a power forward? Giannis is a power forward, but he's like a
I'm saving him for the power forward slot
yeah.
personally.
And that's the thing, like because you said, can anyone else? Yeah, because Tatum could be a 2 or a 3, and Giannis could be a 3 or a 4. And I think we've kind of nailed that down. Not to mention Kawhi Leonard. I think he's been out of the focus because
He just
Clippers
doesn't want to
aren't
play
doing.
basketball.
Yeah.
I'm convinced Kawhi Leonard doesn't want to play. Did you see like this crazy story about the Clippers?
No, tell me.
Bro, like so okay. So apparently someone who like works in the Clippers front office like used a burner Twitter account and like exposed the chaos within. And apparently,
Goodness.
dude, literally they were like, Kawhi Leonard has just been ghosting the team. Like he just could you imagine? But it gets like that's like the simple stuff.
Oh,
Apparently Ty Lue and management just nope.
hate each other.
They do not get along. And at
Mm,
one
mm,
point,
mm.
management tried to tell Ty Lue to do something. Ty Lue told them to go fuck themselves and then played an
Mm.
all guard lineup because fuck the front office.
It's the NBA does a good job of protecting their product, and these are the types of stories that honestly, if it did get out, like it would give us probably a more interesting narrative and things to talk about. But it's like, especially when you consider that if there is that much drama and yet still the team could win 50 games in a season, that's that shows how talented they are, how despite the chaos that people can go out there and win games and even a playoff series. But
Dude, like
that's just
I'll
yeah.
own this, man. In 20 the 2019-2020 season, that first year where AD and LeBron played together, the first year where Kawhi and Paul George played together, when the whole NBA sort of shifted, I genuinely remember thinking the only team I'm afraid of is the Clippers. And like somehow Doc Rivers coaching a team in the NBA playoffs, that's how the Clippers don't make it to the Western Conference Finals in the bubble tournament. But I stand by saying like if we had to play the Clippers in the Western Conference Finals instead of the Nuggets in that tournament, we may not
Mhm.
have won. Healthy Kawhi, healthy Paul George was a problem for that team. And we didn't really have an answer for them.
I mean, I still think to this day that most people don't have answers for any of those guys one on one. It just happens to be and easily Kawhi or Paul George. If you say you want a team for a year, if they were reliable to play 80 games, they'd be up there if they are reliable to play 70 games, 75 games. I just saw a little blurb on Instagram. What weakness does Paul George have? He does everything well except for play. One on one, he can shoot, he can dribble, he can pass, he can play defense.
For like 1 out of every
Yeah, and the
82
same thing
games.
goes with Kawhi. So it's a really odd dynamic that both of those guys ended up finding themselves, and Kawhi chose to go to the Clippers as opposed to the Lakers. Guess what? Maybe LeBron has too high of a standard to deal with that. When you go to a team that's begging you to, hey, you'll be our star, and we're not going to pressure you to play. You play when you want. That's why Kyrie initially wanted out from under LeBron's shadow. LeBron, and that type of intensity to win, it requires a lot of commitment. And when you're making $30 million a year, it's hard to have that commitment. You have essentially already won. You saw the I don't know if you saw the videos of what's his name from the Hawks, who's the old point guard, Jeff Teague's podcast episodes have been legendary, and I can't wait to watch them again. But so
Wait, Jeff Teague? I thought it was
no,
Evan
Jeff
Turner.
Teague
Or
had
am I
some
mixing
stories. I'll have to
Jeff
send
Teague?
them to you once we're offline, but they are
Please.
like, what the heck? Like the best stories. It makes Draymond and whatever stories that Draymond could tell, or Kevin Garnett, like he's blowing them out of the water. So I'll send it to you. But yeah, so we digress. I
Okay.
think what do you want to do? Point guard now, small shooting guard, point
Point
guard.
guard. I want to go point guard. And this stems from the conversation from the Bitcoin Ballers Telegram channel. So if you're not in the Telegram channel, come join it. We were literally having this conversation. But from this point forward, because small forward is like
It
the
is.
hardest position to pick it in the NBA right now, because to your point, most small forwards play either 2 guard or
right.
4. So I wanted to get that out of the way. So the point guard conversation that we've had circulating in our group chat is like, who is the best point guard in the NBA right now? So I'm just going to pick 2 players. You tell me your preference until we finally find a player that there's no other player we take over. I'm going to start with the guy that was been thrown out in our group chat as the best point guard in the league right now, Jalen Brunson.
That's Corey.
Or Jamal, or NBA champion Jamal Murray.
I would definitely pick Jalen Brunson.
Okay, I take Murray. Why are you taking Brunson?
I would take, honestly, I just tend to take, when someone is on a team where they have the absolute best player in the league, it's hard for me to, and I'm saying Jokic, it's hard for me to quantify how good that second player is. Scottie Pippen, we know he's great, but we'll never know how great he really was. Maybe, we could tell he is probably first team All NBA, so he was always one of the best players in the NBA. But there's so much more potential than that, but we'll never necessarily know. Could Scottie Pippen score 30 a game?
Right.
So,
I see what you're saying.
yeah.
Okay. Valid.
Brunson.
Valid. So let's keep it going though. Jalen Brunson, Steph Curry.
Steph Curry. Yeah.
Same. I don't care what anyone says. The threat of being able to just come back down 10 points in a minute, or having someone just drop 50 points and win the game single-handedly against you, Steph is a no-brainer.
And although we forked already on mine, there's another Bitcoin analogy. Hello. Are you certain that you would pick Steph Curry above Jamal Murray as well? Okay, good. We're on Steph Curry no matter what. Continue.
Yep. All right, let's go. Steph versus all NBA first team SGA, Shai Gilgeous.
I'm taking SGA.
Fair. It's really close for me. I would say this, because I'm only looking at one season just next year, I take Steph. But if you make it 2 years worth or longer, it's SGA for me. But I just think that Steph hasn't shown me, like, yes, he's dealt with injuries, but he's also shown me he can literally come back from his serious injuries and win another championship 2 years ago. So I still take Steph on this 1 year basis.
I mean, the reason why I take Shai is because of length, and because of that we don't necessarily need whatever Steph Curry brings to the table. We don't necessarily need it per se. And again, I'm looking at the stats. Steph averaged 29, 6, and 6. Shea averaged 31, 5, and 5.5. But I take Shea because he's longer, he's younger, so we're not going to be thinking, oh man, we have to hide him on defense. Not to say that he's some grand defender, but he's definitely more trustworthy on defense than Steph.
Fair. I'm gonna throw a couple names out that I think both of us are just kind of like, no, not even in the realm of conversations. But I just want to Russell Westbrook, Chris Paul,
I froze.
right? I don't think I don't think Russell Westbrook or Chris Paul are better than any of the players that we've been
That's
talking
right.
about thus far. But next player I want to bring up. So SGA or Dame, who do you
Yeah,
want next
so
year?
J-Dub, the Lakers, says Dame's still best point guard in the NBA. Steph number 2. I'm taking SGA. And yep,
Over
I'm sorry, because
Dame.
guess what? The
Okay.
things that I would need my point guard to do at 6'6" is things that I really don't care that if Dame does or if Dame does or not. Dame is great on a bad team. A whole bunch of production, a whole bunch of win shares, et cetera, et cetera. So is Shea. And Shea will play better defense. So I'm thinking they both are scoring 30 points a game, but one can actually play D. And honestly, like Dame is more like an undersized 2 guard. And the team that I'm building, you'll see at the end, it's they may not necessarily be like the best lights out shooter for every position, but they're like, oh snap, like who do I stop? And you'll see. But so I pick Shea, and I imagine you're picking Dame.
I am picking Dame, and I'm looking just at some quick little stats. And like my issue, and it's not really an issue, but it's just something to point out. Guys like Dame and Steph have proven to me that they can just fill in to a catch and shoot type of role that a team like this that we're building is going to need. And they can still facilitate in a way that Shea can facilitate just as well as them. But then the issue for me, and I bring this stat up a lot, and I bring it up with the caveat that like it's not as though Dame or Steph's usage is any lower, but Shea's usage is very high. You're looking at over 32% usage rate. I'm pulling up Dame's right now just
If
so we have it
he's
from
not
last
all the
season.
way up there, I mean, he's the only one shooting on his team every game.
Oh, I'm assuming it's at least 30 for Dame as well.
Usage is
But my
34.
oh, so it's even more. All right, there you go. Dame's literally 1 out of every 3
And Curry's
possessions.
31. Like especially last season, like Curry was like in the last 4 seasons, Curry was 33, 35. I'm sorry, 34, 35, 31, 31. So all these guys are just touching the ball a lot, which they should. They are the point guard on their team.
Yeah. So I think we've found sort of our sort of trifecta. I'm just gonna throw out any names, and I just want a yes or no if they come into this realm of the SGAs, the Dame, the Steph, because I think this is the top tier point guards. I still take Steph over Dame right now for just again a 1 year, and then I probably take Dame and then SGA, but it's like a literal hair that separates each of them. And this season could change that overnight. And you could literally only be talking about SGA for the next 5, 6 years as far as the best point guard in
Yeah.
the NBA. But so I'm going to just quickly throw out some names.
No.
Kyrie Irving,
No.
De'Aaron Fox,
No.
Drew Holiday, Ja Morant.
Oof.
I know, right?
So for the same reason I wouldn't take Steph Curry or Dame, I would not take Ja. Again, undersized. I'm taking size over whatever highlight thing that they do. And Dame and Steph, they're almost the same guy. They catch and shoot. Steph handles are probably a little better than all of them, but and Ja, of course, is just like dunking on people. I don't need him to dunk on people because I may have someone else who can dunk on people. We'll see.
Yeah, Ja. And I looked at the stats to like see if this is confirmed, and it's not confirmed. but and I need to go and look at this a little bit. Jaw has shades of early Dwayne Wade in that like he is a slasher. He's quick. He has an awesome first step, but that's his go-to. And his go-to is not to pull up a jumper. And I think over time he will develop a stronger jumper to where people are going to have to respect that, and that will again reopen the lanes for him. I think next year is going to be really, really hard for John Morant. I'm just going to say it right now. I think he's going to have a hard time in the NBA. I think the Lakers figured out how to scheme him. Sure, he hurt his wrist. Fine. But the Lakers did something to Jaw that Jaw hadn't seen all year. And teams are going to go back and watch that footage. And I think Jaw is going to have a down year unless he puts in some work on a jumper. But I need to be afraid of your jumper. So Jaw is the only guy I think comes close. Like Darius Garland is also really, really solid, but he's not there, at least not for me.
You're sleeping on Tyrese Halliburton, 20 and 10, man.
I don't like Tyrese is also like great point guard, but he's not Steph, he's not Dame, he's not SGA. You know what I mean?
20 and 10. We celebrate Lillard, and I understand. That. And there's no problem with that. But like when you think about, he's 23 years old and he essentially led the league in assists without, besides Harden. I think he had the most assists
for a point guard.
Yeah, I think Harden actually.
Harden led the league in assists.
Total. Okay. So, but 20 and 10, like who does that? Not anyone right now, except for those two, Harden and Halliburton. So we have to consider that this guy now, when we look at usage, I'm going to scroll down real quick. Advanced usage. Yikes. 24%
for Halliburton.
Yeah. So when we talk about the efficiency, that's you're big on usage. I'm not so much. I
have a new fucking trade idea for the Phoenix Suns. You trade literally everyone to get Tyrese Halliburton. That's the missing fucking puzzle piece.
They would never. He's a max player.
I know, but if his usage is that low and he's getting 20 and 10, dude.
Yeah, that's why. Because he is efficient.
That's efficient.
That's right.
Exactly.
So I think we sleep on guys that don't get mainstream coverage. I think he will materialize if his team is anywhere near playoff spot next year. We're going to all of a sudden he's going to come out of the woodwork. It's like, oh, where did he come from? It's like he's been producing and he's a max player and he's 6'5". So think about it.
I don't hate that. Like it's almost like
not the top three. Not the top three next year, though, for sure. I understand.
No. I read you loud and clear, and I almost want to say like, and I'm quickly pulling up. Yeah, to me, it reads a little bit like a De'Aaron Fox, because De'Aaron Fox, solid player, was putting up numbers for a while. I'm trying to pull up his averages. So per game, he was doing about.
He's 25, 23, 25 last 3 years.
Yeah, and then he's getting somewhere in like the 6-7 range for assists. So
which is
not
like
even
Steph
doing.
Curry.
Yeah, but not doing like those numbers like Halliburton. But then literally you get your team into the playoffs and now you enter this different realm of a conversation. Like if we want to go back to playing the game, I take Tyrese Halliburton over De'Aaron Fox.
Yes, right now, yeah.
In any circumstance, in a one season circumstance, in a build my franchise around this point guard, whatever the circumstance is, Tyrese Halliburton over De'Aaron Fox any day of the week. And fun fact, they were teammates at one point.
And Halliburton is shooting 40% from the 3-point line too.
Ooh.
My goodness.
All right. Oh, I like it. All right. Tyrese Halliburton for most improved player of the year next year?
No, he's already doing so good. I don't even know if he can improve much beyond that unless they're like counting a couple years. I think
they cheat with that award.
They cheat? Okay. It's like, hey, the guy that we discovered that we're presenting to you that you haven't really heard about. That kind of thing.
Dude, Ja got it 2 years ago. Remember, like it was like, yeah, Ja made strides, but like not the most improved player in the NBA.
That's too funny.
I do think that all right. I like that futures pick. Any other point guards?
No, we've hashed out a third of the league now. I mean, the only one that Harden, but obviously
Trae Young.
No, no. Even though he has the volume, there's just again more so because of the. I'm more of the size guy. I would like to see a guard that's bigger than 6'2", because you can rely on him to play in a switch situation. He can guard someone. He can contest a layup. It's just so much better when your players are taller. That's it. I'm not saying that everyone needs to be 7'3", but a guard who's 6'5", 6'4" to 6'5", 6'6" really makes a difference.
All right. So Corey Clipston in the audience right now. I just want to, Corey, we have essentially established that your Jalen Brunson take was just way, way off.
It's a really bad one.
It was a really bad take. We've established the top 3 point guards for next season are Dame, Steph, and SGA, with Tyrese Halliburton as our wild card to enter this realm next season. Brunson's nice. I'll give him credit, but he's not that nice.
Brunson's nice.
Let's go over to the 2 guards, though. Dude, Corey, don't even get me started, man. Do not get me started on today's show. All right, there are a lot of 2 guards. Let's start with, again, the guy that Corey threw out, which was Devin Booker. We talk about him a ton, and then the other option you got James Harden. Who you got?
Booker.
I would agree with that.
One season, yeah.
So I want to cheat a little bit. I want to bring a player back. Trae Young.
I'm taking Booker.
Same, but it's weirdly close. And then I brought Trae Young up because I wanted to bring up Luka.
Because you wanted to bring up Luka, so you wanted to compare Trae Young and Luka because they've been
no, because I don't consider Luka a point guard.
Yeah.
I really consider Luka a 2, but I always love having them in that conversation. So Booker or Luka, though.
See, this is where I was getting into my positionless team. I'm picking Luka.
Same. It's not even a hesitation.
No,
we're also really lame right now because we're just making the All NBA first team from last season. So maybe we should deviate a little.
They're not wrong. Well, we'll see. Hold on. So who was the point guard? Did you?
Shea.
That was so you were okay with Shea.
I'm taking Steph for my team.
Oh, okay. So you have Steph.
Your team is SGA and Jimmy Butler so far. My team is Steph and Jason Tatum.
Okay.
So Luka, like we both agree, Luka or Donovan Mitchell?
Luka.
Is there anyone you take over Luka? I brought Luka up too soon, I think. Yeah. I'm
you brought him up.
I brought him up. Wait, I got too excited. You
know how to tell stories, man. Let me take the reins next time. My goodness.
Fuck off. Here's the.
Are we missing anyone? I'm going to look through. Keep talking.
I'm trying to quickly go through just team by team, but the issue is shooting guard is a weird position. Okay, Devin Booker's teammate Bradley Beal is the only other legitimate 2 guard in the NBA, right. And I take Booker over Beal in a heartbeat.
Okay, hold on. Kyrie, Luka. Okay, yeah, me too.
I didn't even want to bring Kyrie up during the point guards because I was like, Kyrie's nice, better than Jalen Brunson, Corey, but he's not.
Jaylen Brown, Luka, of course.
Ooh, that's a good one. Okay,
next season, one season,
I still take Luka,
of course.
However,
Luka may get fat, so it's then you have Brunson for the rest of his career.
Dude, Luka lost weight. Have you not seen the workout pictures?
Oh my gosh, everyone has workout pictures. Get off of the summer social media, man. It's photoshopped.
Bro, honestly, it's so irrelevant because if fucking
Harden came out with the stomach and averaged 20 points a game, man.
He stuffed his shirt.
I know.
He was literally he showed up all oh, and then the second he shows up in Brooklyn, he's slim down. No one does that in a week, man. I will say kind of in the same way that you brought up, holding it against Jamal Murray a little bit for playing with Jokic. I'm not trying to say we haven't seen Jaylen Brown be Jaylen Brown, but we haven't seen Jaylen Brown be Jaylen Brown. You know what I mean?
Because of the coverage. That's the thing. They can only cover so many Celtics, man.
It's not the coverage, and it's almost like I'm on Team Jalen because I love chaos in Celtic land. But dude, the trade to make is Jalen Brown for Dame Lillard, and let Jalen Brown cook. Let him
100%.
let him cook, man. And then all of a sudden, I like
Tatum, Lillard, Porzingis, and it's like you have this perfect
oh,
tiered team with Brogdon and White, and Robert Williams. I've become bring Mark Goodwin on. We wear Celtic green together. I'm just saying.
yeah. But honestly, Goodwin, you need to come on. But I bring that up to say, again, under the criteria we created of this is a one season, that's it. And based on what we know, it's still Luka. But in the same way that you brought up Tyrese as like this could be his year. The second Jalen Brown is not playing on the Celtics, that's the moment where it's like this is going to be Jalen's year. You know,
now you can have an honest comparison because technically his opportunities are taken because he has a very
he's the
good
two.
player. Yeah,
he's the
he's
number two option on that team. Like he's upset about it. He wants to be the number one dude. So
how bad?
I think it'll be interesting. Chris Middleton, I still take Luka.
Nope. I think we're done.
Okay. Let's go. Should we go to the fours?
Yeah.
So this is the two guards, the first position that you and I both agreed on. We both took Luka. I have Steph. You've got Shea, and then your three is
Jimmy,
and mine is Tatum. So, all right. Well, we're gonna pace this a little better.
Okay.
Pascal Siakam.
That's fun.
Or Anthony Davis.
Anthony Davis.
Okay.
By the way, do we have a bench that we're not going to address? We just have 5 players. So what happens if someone gets hurt?
Shut up.
Okay. Right,
bro. Like I created the craziest scenario for you already with like it's a one season thing. You got to throw in the but they might get hurt. Shut up. Everyone else is on the veteran minimum.
If everyone's playing 82 games. Anthony Davis.
Okay. Anthony Davis.
Oh, does it start with a Z?
No.
Okay, I'll just say.
Who are you gonna say?
Zion.
Oh, I guess. AD. I take AD next year.
Yeah.
Healthy 82 games, AD next year.
Ooh, if I'm Zion, healthy 82 games Zion, you've seen what he can do.
I know, but I will caveat it by saying, kind of in the same vein of Zion is the player I take if this is we're building the franchise. But if I'm on a 1 year, let's get the job done with LeBron as my sixth man, it's AD.
AD.
Only because I think this is the position he's going to play next season, AD or Wemby.
Did you only do that for Corey? You know my answer.
Of course.
Corey probably already left. I'm not even going to answer that. Wemby's averaging 14 points next year.
Can we just talk about how bad he was in summer league?
Well, he had 1 game, so we're gonna shut him down so you can't have any data points. Nah, bro.
No, dude, you can't afford for him to get hurt.
Oh no.
Bro, you're afraid of him getting hurt in summer league. You're screwed when the regular season comes around.
Yeah, they saw what happened to what's his name on OKC. Oh, that'll be an interesting team. Yeah,
I mean, dude, I think Chet Holmgren is gonna be.
Hi, Corey.
I digress.
Keep going.
All right, let's do this one. AD or Kristaps?
I like the V will break you, but AD. I just like the white guy from the Eastern Europe, just like knocking down, bam, bam, headshot. But no, AD.
AD or Julius Randle?
One season. It's like this positionless thing where because I've seen Julius Randle ball, but again by himself. Yeah, AD. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Forgive me, Lord, I have sinned.
Okay. I'm gonna just say I think 3 straight names that are all I take AD over them.
Okay.
Sabonis, Markkanen, Jaren Jackson Jr.
It's so funny. The closest one I would have, just because we get into the point where now, do you necessarily need this player to do whatever you need them to do? And I'm talking about AD. Do you need him to be AD when you could potentially have something like a super Draymond Green, and or even because even the defensive side, like AD can do whatever
You're
Jaren
doing
Jackson
too
did.
much of building a team, and instead I just want
You're
like
asking a team.
no, I want the best player at this position, position by position. Don't build
AD.
AD. Same.
I really like Sabonis, though. I like the Eastern European white guys, man.
Oh, I wonder why with your Eastern European wife. Real original there, guy.
I'm a cultured man.
Oh, you're so cultured you wouldn't marry a white woman.
This is. Oh my god. Okay, we have to cut this show now.
I really hope your wife is not listening.
You're gonna kill my black card. She would laugh at that, but now I have like no black cred, man.
I mean, you didn't for a while.
I didn't have before. Oh,
all right. Here's where it gets interesting because A, we didn't bring this player up during small forwards, and I feel dumb. But B, I guess he can be considered a power forward too. AD or Kevin Durant?
Oh, ooh.
Right? We fucked up.
Yeah. Because you know what? Because he disappears for the last 3-4 seasons being hurt all the time, and that's his own fault. But even still, you know, if they're gonna play all 82 games, I'm sorry, I'm not picking Jimmy Butler.
I was about to give you the so first answer my AD or Kevin Durant question because I'm gonna give you the out on
AD,
Jimmy.
because as a power forward, I need you to guard center.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. I still actually am going to take Tatum over KD because
That's fine.
I've
That's
got
fine.
Steph. I've got
That's fine.
Steph. So I'm good with Steph at my point, and then Tatum. I also take AD over KD. Like
At the power forward.
to your point, it's because like I just think AD's a better overall player. KD's just a better scorer in a
Okay.
nutshell.
Right.
That's
Right.
to simplify the arguments. And then the last power forward, AD or Giannis.
Giannis. And here's why. Because Giannis doesn't have to just be a power forward or center. He can play 1, 3, 4, 5. And that is so important when you consider like the guards that I picked, are multi-positional, and I'm choosing guys that are essentially multi-positional, except for Kevin Durant. He's just a 3. He's a 7'3". But Giannis, I would like to see him bring the ball up and
ESPN
kick
has
it
him
out
listed
to
as a 4.
Luka. You know who else has listed as a 4? Jimmy Butler. I have no idea why.
Dude, NBA positions at this point.
But the Heat. When I look at the Heat and they're all 6'6" or under, it's not surprising.
I digress. So I'm kind of with you. I'd say Giannis over AD. It's Giannis. Like he's proven that he is that man, and AD has literally not proven that. In fact, when he had the opportunity to be that man, he wasn't. So, and you're gonna switch Jimmy for KD.
I got to, yeah. Right. We slipped up, but it's not. Yeah,
so
it's not.
So your team so far is Shea, Luka, KD, and Giannis. Mine is Steph, Luka, Tatum, and Giannis. So our 2s and 4s identical. We're differing on the 1 and 3. I think this is actually the hardest position to pick center.
But we only have 2 or 3. Do you?
Oh no! We got bro.
Okay. Oh, you run the story. I'm sorry.
We got plenty of centers. I want to start all the way at the bottom. Cat or Rudy Gobert?
Cat.
All right. Cat or Vucevic?
Vucevic on the That's a former Magic that's on the Bulls.
Yes. Interesting. I actually take Cat. I still think Cat is better.
Yeah. I mean, Cat has done 25 and 12. I think Vucevic just, yeah. I mean, and even right now, yeah, especially because one season, Cat, yeah.
All right. Vucevic or Robert Williams III?
Wait, we're on Cat.
Oh, you switched to Cat. Okay.
No, I didn't take. No, I was just making sure that's the
Oh,
Vucevic we
okay.
were
Got it.
talking
Got it.
about.
Yes, correct. That is the
Yeah,
Vucevic I'm talking about. Okay. We both take Cat. All
yeah,
right. Cat or Robert Williams III?
Cat. I don't
Same.
care about defense.
Cat or Jared Allen?
Cat.
I say Cat, but it's
It's
very
getting
close.
close. Can we go to Evan Mobley?
Cat or Evan Mobley?
And now I'm getting to the point where it's like, I understand we're.
Hang on. Time out. Evan Mobley or Jared Allen?
Evan Mobley.
Jared Allen.
No, Evan Mobley.
Jared Allen.
Oh, is this a beer commercial? Oh, greater taste, less filling, right? Okay. Evan Mobley. I believe Evan Mobley is either going to be an all-star. Has Jared Allen ever been an all-star?
He was an all-star, not this past season, the season before.
Really?
Yes, sir.
How did he make himself an all-star? That's funny.
Because he helped revitalize the
Yeah.
Cleveland Cavaliers.
Yeah, 16. I just see that. I just see the stat progression as Mobley's going to pass him up. I think Mobley will have a more impactful season this year.
Maybe.
So if I were, yeah, I mean, well, I'm looking at, I mean, just the small, I mean, he went from 15 to 16. Allen went from 16 to 14 points a game. And then their defense and rebounds are always similar. I see Mobley just pressing forward. So I'm picking Mobley, generally speaking, over Allen anyways. So, but yeah, I mean, it could go either way.
Okay, fair. Everyone's entitled to their own wrong opinion.
But so you pick Allen over Cat?
I do.
And so I pick Mobley.
I took Cat over Allen.
You took Cat over Allen?
Do you take Mobley over Cat?
Oh, gosh, let me make sure like I saw what Karl Anthony Towns, because Karl Anthony Towns, is he still just a walking bucket? 20 and 8. No, I take Mobley because of the defense. I take Mobley over. So now you have, let's just say you have Allen, I have Mobley. So we have a Cavs center.
You don't want to talk about any other centers?
No, we're going to keep going. But okay. you have Allen. I'm sure it's going to get over.
I have Cat, but I'm going to overrule it.
I thought you just said you had Allen.
No, I picked Allen over Mobley, but I still take Cat over both of them.
So you have Cat, I have Mobley. Let's keep going.
DeAndre Ayton.
No, stop. Next. I don't think that Ayton's that good.
Miles Turner or Mobley?
I'm sorry, Mobley.
So I actually will take Miles Turner over Cat.
Interesting. Okay.
Bam or Mobley.
Bam gets such play because he's always in the playoffs, but yeah, Bam.
That's Bam, and it's not even an argument.
Mm-hmm.
Before we go to the top of the food chain, because I don't really feel like guys like Clint Capella, I don't feel like Drummond, Thomas Bryant, Mason Plumlee, like none of these guys, Brook Lopez, all of them I take Bam over. Is there any guy that we brought up in the power forward?
Sabonis, you would have to kind of compare. And honestly, I like Sabonis more than Bam.
Yeah, I don't hate that. What I really want to see is consistency, and Sabonis has been improving. But now my question to Sabonis, my challenge to him is, okay, you did it. Can you do it again?
I only want him to do it for 1 year.
No, I know. But like Bam has done it for like 4 or 5 years. Sabonis has done it for 1. So for right now,
not 1. We've gone over these stats before. He's been 18 and a half to 20 points a game for the last 4 years. And he's been over 12 rebounds for the last 4 years. And he's gradually increasing his assists almost every year. So from 5 to 7.3 this year. So when I say, like, can you do it again? I think he's been gradually getting better with his efficiency on his ball dominance. And it's hard because one team he was playing with is Indiana, disappears, and the other team he's playing with, Sacramento, even with a good season, disappears. Bam has been in the highlights reels for the last 4 years, ever since COVID. So it's obvious that we would see him more. But I think Sabonis is that type of player that when you have an AD or a Giannis, you don't need him to be the back to the basket. And now I'm going to like make that move. You can almost have him. Hey, now we're even more multi-positional than you ever were with Bam, where Sabonis is essentially a super Draymond Green. And I like that idea. So I pick Sabonis over Bam.
Okay. Do you take Joel Embiid over Sabonis?
Yes, I do.
Same. Do you take Jokic over Joel
next
Embiid?
Season? Man, you can't, honestly, in my eyes, you just can't go wrong. So, but I would probably take Jokic.
Wemby over Jokic.
Oh, Corey's already gone. We don't have to simp for Corey anymore.
All right. So you and I essentially agreed on our 2, 4, and 5. Yeah. We both have Luka, Giannis, and Jokic, 3 of the 5 MVP candidates. And then I had Jason Tatum, number 4 for the MVP race. And then you have SGA. I've got Steph Curry. I probably will regret the Steph Curry pick. I think this, if Steph Curry has relevance this season, it may be his final season. So for his sake and his legacy's sake, I hope he goes out with a bang, because I don't think any player is ever going to come close to his 3-point record. I said those words out loud. Yeah,
he better go out with a bang, because if he limps into his final years of his career, you know what happens with his all-time greatness on my list? He goes down. And my list matters.
Yeah. Oh, his list is so important. Don't worry. We're going to break that list down and a lot more. We're going to share. I'm going to make the call right now. We're going to be off next week. We'll be back in a couple of weeks. And when we're back, Ulrich has been teasing this for a while, but he has created his list of all-time greats. I'm going to go into lockdown and make my own list. The fact that you don't have Tim Duncan in your top 10.
If he isn't, he's in like number 11, but he's probably, I think he's number 10. I forgot. Did you?
I think he actually is in your top 10, but my issue with we'll get into that and more on the next episode of the